Hi, I'm Trish.
And I'm Brandi.
And you're listening to ConnectED Conversations.
This is your space where international teachers, school leaders, and parents like us get together for real talk, real tips, and real conversations that go beyond the glossy brochures of international education.
Between us, Brandi and I have been doing this international teaching gig for nearly 40 years on 4 continents in 8 countries and countless types of schools.
We've taken those first risks and we've learned a lot from our many, many mistakes.
Oh, a lot of mistakes.
So whether you're considering that first job abroad, trying to understand your child's new international school, or just figuring out if it's time for a change, we've been where you are sitting and we're here to help you weigh the pros and cons through it all.
Our mission is to connect, collaborate, and compare education in schools across and in between everything, across borders, across continents, across classrooms worldwide.
All of it. So if you've ever wondered, who are these 2 characters and how in the world did they get connected, you're in the right place.
So let's get started. It's time to get connected.
Today's conversation is part of our Insider Voices series, where we share real stories from international educators, leaders, and parents. And since we are all 3 of those, we thought we'd start with ourselves. We're sharing who we are, how ConnectED got started, and what you can expect from us in episodes moving forward.
So Brandi, what is your experience?
Well, before we even dive into that, I think we should share a little bit about what we actually do and why we care so much about this space.
As I said, we've been nearly 40 years in the education field, all types of schools, big ones, small ones, government, local, international, nonprofit, profit, and everything in between. We are not experts, but we have gained a wealth of expertise over the years. So now it's time, Brandi. What is your expertise?
Yes. So my story starts in America, in Washington State, when I started teaching in 2011. But before I started doing my official teaching, I did an undergrad semester abroad, and I completed my student teaching in Namibia, Africa.
Ooh.
That was a wild experience.
Oh, yeah.
I had classes of 55 students and I had 0 materials. And on top of that, corporal punishment had just become illegal in the country and many of the schools were still practicing that. So I would walk in bright-eyed, bushy-tailed into my new classroom, and the teacher who I was student teaching for would promptly hand me whatever the object was that I could hit the students with. I received a tube, a ruler, a stick, and I remember just having this culture shock of, oh my God, I'm never going to hit a student with this. But it really opened up my eyes to the world of education abroad. So after that experience, I came back to Washington State and I started classroom teaching for 3 years. I subbed for those 3 years.
Subbing world.
Yeah, it's a great world. There's a lot of pros and cons in subbing, but the biggest thing is that I had experience from preschool or early years all the way up to high school. I mean, everything that was in between. I had good days, bad days. And I think the greatest benefit of that is that I gained adaptability in different curricula and routines of different schools. At near the end of those 3 years, I was ending a very difficult personal relationship, and I knew that I wanted to move abroad. And so I moved to Prague in 2013, and I took a TEFL course, teaching English as a foreign language. And since I've been in Prague, most of my experience is in the early years or early years and primary, or preschool and elementary, depending on what system you're used to. And it's really funny because now looking back, I was the exact target audience that we're hoping to reach today. When I moved to Prague, I made 2 huge mistakes after relocating. I took my TEFL course, and TEFL courses will help you to some degree, as you know, in finding housing, for example, or maybe setting you up with a visa consultant. And they didn't tell me the nitty gritty details, like putting your name on a mailbox in Europe. I came from an American background, and I lived in different apartments in the States, and I never had to put my name on a mailbox. I had an apartment number, and I didn't know that I needed my name on my European mailbox.
And what did that mistake cost you, Miss Brandi?
Well, I'm so glad you asked. I didn't receive an important document that I needed for my visa. Yes. And of course, I didn't know that I even needed that document for my visa. So then I didn't receive it. And my visa consultant said I had to move back. So I was here for about 2 months, 2.5 months.
And then you got deported.
And then I got deported. I was a criminal, almost a criminal, almost, 1 day short being a criminal. And to be very frank, it was like a nightmare for me. I came to Europe for my first time. I mean, I had these big eyes and I was living this fairy tale fantasy life. And then going back to the States, it was like I was dragged back under into this life that I was trying to escape from, to be honest. So fast forward a little bit, I got my visa and I came back to Prague. And most of my experience was in early years or the preschools, and then finally in elementary or primary schools. I'll use both of these terms interchangeably because, depending on who's listening, you might have heard one or the other. But when I came here, my second big mistake is that I didn't even know that international schools existed. I thought that English schools were only preschools. The jobs that I got were from word of mouth. I had a friend who was working at a preschool and said, hey, you can come apply here. I got that job. I went to another preschool. And that was the first few years of my life here in Prague. On top of that, I didn't know how to work the metro system, the bus system. I didn't know where to even locate street signs in the street.
We're going to cover that. Don't worry.
I mean, it's just these tiny little things when you relocate somewhere and just nobody tells you about them, and it results in you being hours late to an interview or getting lost or, just a number of different mistakes and problems can come from it. And we're here to try to help others move past those mistakes and hopefully not make them.
For sure.
So anyways, I remember one day, a few years after I had come back to Prague, and Trisha and I were discussing work. And she very kindly asked me, why are you working in preschools? I know that your degree is in elementary education. Oh, if only I had ConnectED back then. Yeah. So since then, she opened up my eyes for international teaching or international primary schools in Prague and let's say the whole world. And since then, I've been working in primary schools in Prague.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. I am a little older than Brandi, so I have been teaching since 2001. I've been international since 2005, nearly 25 years now. I'm very visual, so I'm going to need a map to summarize some of my globetrotting. I'm originally from Minnesota. Got a bachelor's degree at Ohio State in English, and then I went to Seattle for my master's in education and my teaching certificate. I started subbing during those master's years and waitressing, all that stuff in the area. But I did a lot of different jobs in Seattle School District. I was a registrar. I was a long-term sub for high school English. It was a lot of different things. I saw a lot of things that I would like to do, not like to do. Definitely what we get from the subbing culture.
Yes.
But eventually I graduated and I started my career at a school district that I was their speech and debate coach. And
I was that.
We'll learn that in a minute. And I was a high school English teacher, did advanced placement classes and such, poetry, speech and debate. And the reason I got into teaching was it was the thing that I loved school so much. When I was in high school, I was in Minnesota. You can be in everything. I was in 4-H to FFA to cheerleading to so many different things, like FLA, all of these, speech and debate. And my passion is to be involved. I love being connected in the school community. And so I really wanted to do that. And that was my big concern about making the leap to international. So fast forward to a breakup, and I was like, I'm just going to go take a TEFL course for a bit. So once again, teach English as a foreign language. I'm looking up online. This is back in 2003 at this point, 2004. And everything online was coming up as either Spain or Prague. And I asked my sister at the time, who was military and stationed in Germany, and I said, where's Prague? She said, I love Prague. Prague's amazing. You've got to go. We went over there. So I credit my sister with Prague being my home base for the last 20 years. Fast forward to a year after doing the TEFL course and all that, I'm here with my Czech husband suddenly, and I have a son suddenly. And, again, life has been very exciting for me. Czech Republic is home base for me now. And now my teaching career in the Czech Republic has found me in 7 different schools around the Czech Republic over the last 20 years. There were a few Czech elementary schools, one Czech university out in the Moravian countryside. TEFL school is a teacher trainer, and a wide amount of private student teaching, 3 years as the head of English at an IB Czech international, bilingual boarding school, and then a primary vice principal stint at an international school as well. So, however, as good as the beautiful Czech Republic is, and as much as I love it, je to výborně, unfortunately, the pay is low. And it's been a struggle. So there have been many, many times where I've had to leave for a year or two and take a contract abroad. I've specifically looked for short contracts abroad, so kind of could make the quick dollar for a bit there. So my CV then has me moving to a year in a South Korean primary schools working for a government project. I did 2 years for a Malaysian government project where they were upskilling their teachers, their English teachers in the area. So I worked at multiple different primary schools. 1 year in the UAE, United Arab Emirates, working at a startup school for local girls. That was a very interesting project. And then all of this time, I'm moving back to the Czech Republic for a year, and then I go out for 2 years, that kind of thing. And then I did a 2-year stint in Wuxi, China, which is near to Shanghai area in Jiangsu province. Loved China, but it was not the place to be when COVID hit. So that kind of put an end to a 3-year contract at 2 years, which was a little frustrating. But then I went to have a wonderful 3 years in Chiang Mai, Thailand, at an IB school that was absolutely fantastic. I loved it. And my son graduated there last year in May of 2024.
Yay!
Yeah. And Brandi came and visited that school.
I did.
She saw it. So it's just lovely.
Beautiful school.
And so now I've just come full circle. I'm an empty nester now. I'm back in Prague, and I'm working at the school where Brandi.
Yay!
She lured me back from Thailand. So so we're working there, and I'm doing a lot of behind the scenes things to help a primary school become a secondary school. So we're writing policies and doing all the behind the scenes stuff. So I know that's a lot. That's a lot of moving, and you may go, oh my gosh, this lady's a job hopper. No, it may seem insane, the amount of moving that I have done, but all the traveling, the 7 countries in 25 years, the reason why it's my story, and there were reasons behind it, there were family reasons. It's my story. It's the path I chose, and I wouldn't change a thing about it. I have connected with so many amazing people. I have loved every country. Don't ask me which I liked best, because each one was so special and so unique. And it's our goal here in this podcast to help you do the same if you want to. So
Absolutely.
That's our goal.
I love that. So that brings us to today. Trisha and I were both in leadership roles, and we're both at the same school now, and we're both parents navigating or have navigated the same school systems that we work in. So as Trisha said, she has a son who's just graduated. I also have a son who is a wee 6 years old. So big age difference there. But we both see international education through the lens as not only a teacher, but also as a mom. Mm-hmm. I'm a mom of a young child. Hers has already graduated, so she's seen the whole spectrum. Personally, I'm in the thick right now of not finding a new school, but just understanding that when you find a new school, it takes on a totally different meaning because you have to also consider what's the best fit for my kid.
Yeah, definitely. And my son has graduated now. He's moved on to his own international life. He's on his path, kind of because of the experiences that we had together. He is safe. He's secure. He's in a different country than me right now studying, it's amazing.
It's amazing.
I've been through the full arc of parenting. And I mean, in early years here in the Czech Republic, he was in local village schools for 3 years, 2 years there. And then he moved over to the primary school. But I've been through enrolling him in 7 different schools.
Wow.
In 4 different countries until he graduated. Yeah. Wow. And this lifestyle shapes children in a different way. And you may judge that. You may think too much change for a child. My son is resilient. He is self-reliant.
Yeah, he is.
There's a different sort of confidence that has come with that career for him or that path for him through my career. So, and we've had these conversations together, and so there's that old saying out there, it takes a village to raise a child.
You've had a lot of villages.
Yeah, I've had a lot of villages. In my case, it's been a global community who's helped raise mine. And I couldn't be more excited about the journey that we're now taking together to help you do this. It wasn't always easy. It was not always easy, but it was our story. It was our journey. And if this is something that interests you, that's what this channel is here for. These episodes are here for. That you and your family can do the same. We're here to connect you with the right information, the tools, the resources, anything that will help make this global journey a little bit easier and more connected from day one.
Yeah. The truth is, Trish and we've worn just about every hat that you can wear in a school. We've been a teacher, a coordinator, a leader, a coach, an event organizer, and I would say the most important, we've also been parents through it all. Yep. And this has given us a pretty unique perspective on what actually matters when you're choosing a school or a job or even just a place to live.
For sure. And we've sat in your same seats. We've been staring at screens, reaching out into the metaverse and saying, is there something bigger for us? Can my family do this? Cue all those rolling questions, can I do this? Where do I start? Which country is best for me? What's good for my family? Will my parents ever come visit? What kind of jobs are out there? How do I know? How do I trust what I'm reading on the internet? All of these questions. How do I not screw up my kids? We understand the leap of faith that you're currently contemplating, and we get there, and we're hoping to help.
Yeah, and it's a big leap, I would say, but it's worth it.
So worth it.
Honestly, though, none of this would exist, not ConnectED, not this podcast, not even our friendship, if it weren't for a completely wild full circle moment. And I'm so excited to share this with you.
Absolutely. Because long before we were colleagues or collaborators on this, I was actually Brandi's high school English teacher. She was 15. I was 24. It was my second year in the classroom out in Washington State, as we mentioned.
It's just crazy. I was your student. And you were also my speech and debate coach. I remember the classroom and you, oh my gosh, please forgive me. I still cannot remember the proper debate terms.
Oh, well, we did Lincoln Douglas. We did
that one.
Cross-examination.
Yeah, that one.
All these things I haven't done for years now, but we did all those.
Yes, and Trisha took me on speech and debate competitions. We went to Harvard University. I mean, it was such a connecting year for her and I from the teacher-student perspective.
Coaching does that. And that's what I wanted to be involved in. And I had some amazing coaches. I had a teacher who used to take me to Europe every summer. What? Our art club.
I didn't know that.
That's from 15 years old.
Wait, when I was 15 and when you were 15, that's really funny.
Full circle. So shout out to Mrs. Fawcett.
Well, fast forward a couple years and Trisha moves abroad and I was stuck and lonely back in Washington State. No, just kidding. But
not that we've known each other at that time. Yeah.
But when she moved, I was very lucky to be on that update email list. And when I turned 25, I was itching to see education abroad again. When I was in Namibia, Africa, I mean, it really opened my eyes to just a completely different world out here. I mean, just more of the world. I think when you're living in the American bubble, you kind of think like, oh, America is all there is, or it's the best country. And when you experience something more, you realize like, oh, there's so many different ways to do things. And I really wanted to know what those ways were. And Trish was the only person that I knew who had moved out of the States.
And we hadn't really kept in contact those 10 years. I just every once in a while sent a little update, and some of you answered, some of you didn't, So we jumped on a call at that time. She reached out. And I remember telling her, take a TEFL course, it'll help you get your base set up, start applying to some schools, they'll help you do it one at a time. That was what I had done. So it was the advice I gave,
And it was great advice. I mean, I did everything that you had told me to do. And I followed step by step the plan that Trisha had laid out for me. And I took her lead. Mostly because it was the safest path for me. I knew that somebody had semi-tested this and they had experienced it and they had survived it. And so, I didn't feel like the leap was quite so daunting to do by myself because I had somebody here to support me or at least lay the groundwork for it. And so I took the leap and I moved. And a handful of years later, now we're working together.
That's crazy.
And not just as teacher and student, but now as equals.
Definitely, for sure.
So that's the wild story of Trisha and I connecting. But let's actually rewind a minute from this particular moment and talk about what actually sparked ConnectED. Because as connected as Trisha and I are, our idea for ConnectED was not a planning session. It wasn't a work meeting. It was a dream, literally a bizarre, lucid dream. The story is insane when I say it. I was literally sleeping one night. I was having a dream, lucid dreaming. I was like half conscious in the dream and I was thinking through things and processing things. And my dream was having a podcast. And I imagined having this podcast to share educator tips. I imagined episode titles. I started thinking of guests. I could even hear the way that it sounded. And the second my alarm went off, I jumped up, I grabbed my phone, and I started typing like crazy. And a full list of ideas poured out of me. And can I just stop and say, like, this is not me. I love my morning time, but I'm definitely a slow riser. And I love interpreting dreams, but I can never remember my dreams. And this one I remember. I know, it's like the worst. And this one was so vivid. And yeah, so I went through this first day after having this dream and just thinking like, I'm going to start a podcast. This is a great idea. And as the day was going on and after a few days had passed, doubt started creeping in. And I was thinking, what? Like, I have no idea how to start a podcast. I don't know anything about anything. And this imposter syndrome started creeping in.
Which I could have helped with if she had called, but she didn't call. She kept all this to herself.
It's true.
While we were passing in the hallways at school.
And it's so sad. Like, if we had just tapped into that connection at that time, but I felt almost embarrassed by this idea. And anyways, then the weekend came and just like magic, Trisha texted me, just checking in. And I called her and I hesitated to tell her this idea, but I told her about this wild dream that I had. And I was bracing for her to laugh it off or brush it off.
But I didn't laugh it off because immediately it all made sense. What Brandi didn't know was another kind of universe thing. I had just hung up the phone with another educator in another country, and I had just hung up crying, saying like just feeling like I'm at a crossroads. I currently do feel like I'm at a crossroads. And I was saying to her that like there has to be something more and some reason why I've had all these countries, all of this experience doing so many different types of jobs at school. And I want to keep advancing my skills. I I consider myself like a transformational leader, like I like taking on these new challenges, and there has to be a reason. And I like hung up and I was crying. She's like, "You're going to be okay." And I hung up and my phone rings and it's Brandi. And I'm like wiping my eyes. And then she tells me about this and talk about signs from the universe. I mean, we're both big believers in that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
If you listen, the world will answer.
Yeah.
And I was all in, and I immediately like tried to ride on her coattails and said, "Is it okay if I join you?" and then like the ideas were just pouring out of us.
Yeah.
And it felt right from the absolute first moment, because it feels like it's already existed. Like we have met so many people along the way. We have like done so many things that we want to pass on that information and help other people. And we knew in our soul that we were born to be connected, and we would like to connect with you at this point. So
definitely.
That's where we are.
I mean, really that moment changed everything, because suddenly it wasn't just a dream, it was a plan. And, we started listing out the exact things that we had asked ourselves over the years, and the advice and tips and tricks that we had passed on to other teachers or leaders or just other parents or families that were moving abroad.
Yeah. And we talked about things that we wish we had known, like when we were in international schools, when we became parents, when we married locals, and now you're navigating a bilingual relationship kind of thing. And the differences in our schooling. Oh my gosh, like the way that our husbands were schooled in the Czech system versus, Anyhow,
wild.
we had to scrape a lot of information together on our own. And we realized that out there is really no central trustworthy place that you can go and turn to, whether you're a parent and your spouse has just been moved abroad. And now you're like, wait, we've got kids, we've got to put them in school. What are these types of schools? There's so many different things out there. And there are a lot of great websites and places that will maybe help you with one specialization. Perhaps they're the job search website, or they are recruiters, or it's just the school websites themselves. But no real place is giving you all the information in one. And that is our very lofty goal, to do that for you. So we also see that a lot of like Facebook groups sometimes can go a little negative with the talk. And we just like, our aim is to be positive and keep it like honest, and go beyond the hearsay, and really help you understand contracts, ask and answer questions. No question is a bad question. We want to be something beyond word of mouth. We want to connect you with the right people.
Absolutely. And that's how ConnectED was born. International teaching can be transformational, no doubt about it, but it can also be very overwhelming because there's no clear roadmap. And like Trisha said, there's no central place to compare what matters.
And that's where ConnectED comes in. Okay. We're not here to tell you what to do in any way, shape, or form, but we are here to hopefully give you more tools to make more informed choices.
Yes. Whether you're teaching, parenting, leading, or all three, you shouldn't have to navigate this world alone.
We're trying to build a community where your experiences matter, your questions are valid, and your journey is super supported every step of the way.
Absolutely. This podcast, it's only one part of our ConnectED global platform. We are building country guides, school info sheets, spotlight interviews, digital toolkits, and loads more on our connectedglobal.org website.
Yep. And here on the podcast, you can expect short, focused episodes, maybe not this one, sorry, but covering everything from contracts to culture shock to school leaderships to family life, like lots of different ideas. We have currently come up with about 120 different types of questions we'd like to answer and help you with. So we'll try to get to everything we can. And between us, we realized we have connections currently teaching in over 40 countries. And so we really aim to get you with the right people. That's not us bragging. That's us saying we've got a global network and we're here to build it even bigger. So super
and bring
excited.
You into it as well.
Right, if you want.
You'll also hear from other teachers, school leaders, and parents from around the world on our podcast too. And we're hoping to get people to share their experiences and their hard-earned wisdom, because we've got some, but we want to open up the doors to other people's tips and tricks and information that they've learned along their way too. So we're going to connect you with this world of global education. Our vision is super clear, and our mission is born of love to help you.
Yep.
We want more joy in our lives, and we are only endeavoring to bring you the same.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So there you are. Thank you for having joined us from the very beginning of this brainchild, this baby, this dream. Okay. Thanks for sharing your time with us and for establishing this first connection with us. This is just the start of what we hope becomes a vibrant, encouraging, and ever-growing global education community.
Oh, which brings us to today's end. Yeah. So sad. Thanks for spending time with us. We know that your time is limited and your tabs are probably many.
And for more resources on please go over to connectedglobal.org. We will be constantly updating this site with additional downloads, guides, checklists, extra goodies to help you go beyond these episodes.
And there you can also book a personal consultation with us, where we can further connect and collaborate about the choices you're facing in order to help you compare whatever your options are abroad.
Sometimes you just need a sounding voice and sounding board, and that's what we're here for. So yeah. ConnectED has been built with gratitude for the journey that we've been on. And we want to connect with like-minded world changers like you. So please drop us a comment below if there's a story, struggle, topic that you'd like us to dive into more. We'll do our best to get back to you as soon as we can. But like I said, we've got a lot of ideas already. So we probably are going to answer your question somewhere along the line. We want you to feel a little less alone in this international life.
Yeah. If this conversation resonated with you, please subscribe or pass it along to someone else on their journey to build their best international life. And if you've got a minute, we'd be so grateful if you left a quick review. It really does help us reach even more people around the world.
Yep, I love sharing that kindness. Okay, so kindness. So until next time, may your contracts be clear,
your school Wi-Fi be strong,
and your coffee be fair trade
and international.